So we're gonna introduce Carlos. Please, if we can have the music. Yes, because we don't pay our speakers, right? They pay us with their time. Carlos is a pretty busy guy, as are all of the entrepreneurs and investors who come here. They pay us with their time. So please, I want you at the count of 3 to stand up and give him the biggest rock star applause you've ever given to anybody. 1, 2, 3, give it up. Yeah! Don't let me hanging. All right.
Crazy.
Carlos, we got plenty of time. Maybe we want to just like pull some jokes before, like make 10 minutes before.
Great, I like jokes.
No.
I don't know if this is working.
Is this working and you hear him? Yes,
It's working,
no?
it's working. No.
No, maybe we can get the volume up. All right, we're gonna fix it now. How many times have you been welcome on stage as an entrepreneur? As the rock star, not as an entrepreneur.
It's the first time.
First time?
First time.
Happy that you shared the first time with me,
the
Carlos.
first
It's
time.
very special.
It's interesting.
No, just kidding. We like to introduce people like this because, you know, one of our values at Star Brand is to always give first. We like to introduce people and make an event memorable. We're so happy that we've got a sold out event tonight. So please, big applause for yourselves for coming tonight. Carlos, why don't you tell us, because there a lot of people come because they want to see you, but we've got a bunch of people who really come to the event. They don't really know the speaker. They pay just because they like the event. Probably they like the beer or they like the empanadas, and they come regardless of the speaker, like me.
Yeah.
But maybe, how about you tell them, what do you do at Badi? What was the original idea? And then we will build up from here.
Perfect. Still not working. I mean,
No?
if you don't hear me, just let me know. I'll try to speak louder. So I usually don't start explaining what we do without explaining why we do it. So I will start with why we do it. So I always have the same pitch. Every year we have more people on Earth, right? And in the next 50, 100 years, we're going to be 2 times more people on Earth. But Earth is not going to become bigger. So basically, there's going to be a lack of available space in crowded cities. So we always say that what we do is we create space in a crowded world. So how we do that? We do that through a room rental marketplace, mid to long term, where anyone can search, list, and book rooms from anywhere online. So that's basically what we do. We started in Barcelona 3.5 years ago, and right now we are all over Spain, also in cities like London, Paris, Rome, and we are also expanding into new cities.
You said you started very early in your entrepreneurial career. You had almost no prior experience. You said you worked at Price, if I remember, PricewaterhouseCoopers for some months.
Any experience? I didn't have any experience.
You didn't have
Zero
any experience. How do you create a startup without any experience? What's your secret sauce?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a secret sauce. I think it's just, I mean, I can explain the story. So
Yeah, you can-
how
I will interrupt you accordingly.
So I finished university here in Barcelona, and then I started working as an auditor at PricewaterhouseCoopers. So I spent there 1.5 years, and I hated it. It was. I mean, I have friends that
like
they like it. They like
Yeah.
it. So I mean, it's not that it's just the most horrible place to work, but for me, it was. Right?
All right.
So it wasn't for me.
Don't worry, it's not our sponsor, so you can just. Perfect. Yeah.
So yeah, so basically I hated it, so I was trying to think about what I wanted to do. But I always say that I'm not specifically good at anything. I wasn't a designer, I wasn't a developer, I wasn't like anything, right? It's just I don't know what to do. I'm generalist, so I was living in Sant Cugat, which is 20 minutes away from Barcelona, and I started searching for a place to live in Barcelona because I was working in Barcelona. So at that time, I hated my job, and then I saw an opportunity which was, okay, so it's impossible to find rent an entire apartment. It's just impossible with my current budget, right? Because usually what happens is that in supply-constrained markets, there's more demand than supply, and then that's why rental prices go up. So I said, okay, I need to find a room, share apartment, rather than an entire apartment. So then I realized that all the supply was managed, and in some places still managed by classifieds. So classifieds, they have for me, a horrible user experience. They have duplicates, passive listings. They don't verify profiles. So they were like several basic things to do. I mean, I didn't thought that I was having like a futuristic vision. It's just common sense. There's many things you can change or improve here. So let's try it, right? So then I had this idea, and then I had a friend of mine who knew how to use Illustrator. And then I went every night to his house after the work at Price, and we spent like 3 hours a night designing every screen without any experience. But it's just, I mean, you design the screens. Here there's a button. Here there's going to be the map. Here there's going to be a chat. And once we had the design, we sent it over to the first company, external company that I saw in Google that was doing development in Barcelona.
How much did you pay for that?
Yeah, so I asked how much it was going to cost me, and it was like around 15,000 euros. The full launch in iOS and Android. I didn't have 15,000 euros.
Yeah.
So
15, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
So I went to my father. My father told me, I mean, I'm not going to give you any money. So you rather
You'd be surprised.
Yes, and you rather ask for it, right? So what I did is I made a presentation, what is called deck, pitch deck, and it was easy because I already had the designs. So when you have something which is visual, it's way easier to just pitch it. Sometimes, and usually happens, you have an idea, you try to pitch it, and you need to find the right words, because if you don't have anything visual, it's just difficult, right? When you have something visual, it almost felt like the app was already in the market. It was just crazy, right? We put all the designs already on the phone screens, etc. And then what I raised eventually 30K, and that 30K allowed me to launch the first version, and then start with some online marketing.
How much fake it till you make it did you use in those presentations?
How much what?
Fake it till you make it.
Too much.
Too much.
and I still do. Too much.
I mean, that's saying, like, you know, whenever you start a company, you either start with a lot of money, with a lot of contacts, with prior experience from other companies. Seems that you didn't have any, right? You were coming from the corporate world, so probably you couldn't use your context there. But you mentioned you come from Sant Cugat, and by taking a look at your surnames, I was like, well, maybe the family did help here, but you always claim they didn't give you any money.
No.
Do you think that you were coming from a privileged position saying like, okay, I'm going to try this, and if it fails, you know, I'm in a safe position, like
Yes,
I don't come from an unwealthy background?
Of course, but it was a good position for me because I had a job that I hated it.
Great.
So it was easy, right?
Yeah.
Anything else would be great.
Yeah.
Then I didn't have a wife or kids, and I was 25.
Yeah.
So it's not that much about if my family had money. It's just, it was my current situation. And I know that, for example, someone who has kids, a family to maintain, it's just going to be way difficult. And the risk, it's higher, of course. So I think, yes, it was easier for me because of my situation. Imagine that I was in a job that I didn't hate it, but it was just okay. Not my life work, but it was okay. Probably, maybe I wouldn't start with Badi. So.
How did you convince your partners, the people you started with? You know, you got a CTO early on, and your initial team. How did you convince them? Like, hey, I've got only 30 grand, and we probably spend some of this on the design, development, things like that. So probably all this money was not usable for salaries. So how did you convince them to tag along and join you in your venture?
So I think it's about the pitch itself, and in the pitch you have to show. I mean, it's just about common sense. I always say that it's about common sense, and common sense is not that common.
Yeah.
So
Well,
basically, you need to have a huge problem or a huge pain, which is big and global, on the table, and then to have a clear plan for the next 6 to 12 months. And then the plan is going to change. But at least you have the determination and a specific plan. You cannot hesitate. So if you use your common sense and you have a huge problem or pain which makes sense to solve, and then you explain it with determination as, look, I just raised 30K, I will raise another 300K in 6 months. What we are doing here makes sense because there's a why behind, and I mean, it's just, also, it has been for me not difficult to explain the why. It's just, I mean, no one can tell me that every year we are more people on Earth, and Earth is not going to become bigger. So this is something that and they cannot. No, this is not going to happen, right? And that also there is like this global trend of more people flat sharing, and more people, high percentage of the population that cannot afford to buy or rent another property. So I think you have to have a clear vision, common sense, and then determination. And don't hesitate during the pitch and during the communication you do to external parties. Basically.
You have many qualities. Among these qualities, there's not the frequency or of blogging. Basically, you've written one blog post, the one on Medium. It's pretty remarkable. That means you've been really busy working. But you explain, I share it with the whole community because I thought it was really good about how you explain. You know, a lot of people would say like, yeah, raise money, this and that. And he's always adamant, clear on, it's all about the vision, right? So you engage your co-founders with the vision, you raise money with the vision, you've raised over like 40 million pre-revenue with the vision alone. So what is that? Probably you're the best person to talk about what's the vision for you and how did you manage to improve it over time?
Yeah. Well, I think the vision is the only thing I have.
All right, well, that's a pretty good vision then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, as I told you, I'm not experienced. I'm 28 years old. I've never been, and you can read in my blog, a CEO of a startup at this stage.
Yeah.
I'm not a designer. I'm not a developer. I've never been in any startup before, in any tech company.
Yeah.
So the only thing I have is the vision. Right?
All right.
And with the vision, it helps me to communicate to people to come to work with me and help me. People with experience, of course, and talent. I think talent is everywhere, experience is not, but that makes sense. And then investors to invest in what we do. So I think that's why it's so important. Imagine that I don't have a vision. It's like, okay, we are creating this like classified, room rental classified platform. Mm-hmm. And we are going to do it because we want to do it, because we want to have a startup and raise money, and because it's cool, right? This is not going to attract any talent or experience or money. So I think that's why I find the vision so important, is because probably it's the only thing I have since the beginning. Of course, now I have more experience, but that's why I think it's so important to clearly communicate. And also, what I found these like 4 years is that it's so important to articulate what you want to say in a clear way and a simple way. Because sometimes I have a lot of things in my head, and that usually happens to everyone. Like you brainstorm, and then you go into a room, and you start talking, and then when you finish talking, people, they don't know shit about what you are saying. It's like, I mean, I have clearly everything in my mind, but it's difficult to communicate. And I start just chaotically, I mean, it's chaos, right, when you speak. And what I learned is that it's just better to think, find one sentence, go into the room and say, this is what we need to do because of this. And also happens the same with the vision. So.
We've got a lot in common. I mean, we both come from corporate world, which we hated, at least back in the day. We started companies without prior experience or money or contacts. And you say that you've got no talent other than a vision, and my co-founder is a librarian, which is more or less the same, right? I want to say, how do you transmit this vision in the decks? Because you've raised a lot of money. So how many rounds have you raised, and how did you transmit, how did you make this like crystal clear for the investors? Because you're telling them, I'm not making any money. I don't plan to make any money until, maybe a particular point in time, but I do have this vision. Probably that's your biggest selling point.
Yeah.
How did you convince Lina, for instance?
Yeah. So it's about storytelling, right? You need to, I mean, it's not about create things that doesn't exist. I mean, always you need to know that investors are going to invest not only in what you did, but mostly in what you want to do. That's why you need the money, right? What you did, you already did it.
Yeah.
So it's about the storytelling and the story you want to tell about something which is true with your common sense. So I've never been doing the usual pitch decks. So usually you start with the market, the problem, and then you go. And it's usually you have this index that everyone uses. Yeah. So usually my pitch decks, for example, an example, the last one starts like, we are 60 storytellers, executors, and creators. That's the first slide, right? Yeah. The second one is, and what we do is we create a space in a crowded world. And you don't even know shit about what we do yet, right? Mm-hmm. But what you know is like, we care about the storytelling, we care about design, you see the slides also. And then it's just about creating this story about what we do, why we do what we do, and then what we do, and then how we do it. And then of course, the team. But it's just, for me, the pitch deck it's so important. I mean, I've never went to any investors without spending at least like 2 months thinking about the pitch deck. And it's something that we have designers at Badi, and I spend a lot of time with the designers. I don't use PowerPoint. I mean, I do it with the designers, and it's just something that is like the most important thing.
Design is very important for you, and I didn't know this, but it brings me to my next question is, we've always asked investors to tell us how they want to be approached, because we know investors are special, right?
Yeah.
They want to feel special, they want you to create a pitch deck, especially just for them,
Yeah.
not send mass emails. And so from your point of view, how do you do your decks? You said the first thing is to make like a specific, like a different order, storytelling. The second one is you're using probably Photoshop or Illustrated. What other things do you do differently that you would think other people can profit from?
Yeah, so usually what I want to show to investors is, of course, the what happened?
Just this. At least it's not something else. I don't know. Some people were there.
There's no.
Yeah. Just let me. I'll just.
I don't think they need to.
I think if I keep doing like this, it will work. Anyways, so I will interrupt you to explain this. Because I formatted the Mac last week, and I didn't think this was going to happen. So in our first annual conference in Barcelona, we did an opening night with 300 VIPs of Barcelona, right? You know, and like Generalitat, we had big VCs, serial founders, all the people we had ever interviewed, you know, pretty famous people. And I was interviewing somebody like you, and this happens, except that instead of Alex MacBook Pro, it was written "fuck off," right? That's my screensaver. So I blasted "fuck off" in front of 300 people. So at least it didn't happen today. It would have been. It's not that you deserve it, of course not. They didn't deserve it either, but that's great. Yeah, these things happen. Sorry, you were halfway through your answer.
Yeah. What I was saying.
Yeah, you were saying about your presentation, your pitch deck. How do you?
Yes. Yeah. So yes. So I mean, you have the numbers, and you have to pick exactly the KPIs that you want to show, and then the specific order, and then it's about what I want to show to investors is that this is a marketplace, consumer focused. We want to become mainstream. We care about design, about user experience. Mm-hmm. So this needs to be translated into the pitch deck. Mm-hmm. So that's why I care that much about design, because when they go through the pitch deck, they know we care about design, they know we care about the user experience, they know we care about storytelling, also in our product, and then it's just related to it. Mm-hmm. And then when you see like a pitch deck which has only like tables or graphics from Excel spreadsheets, etc., you know that you're looking into a company which is probably more focused on operations, more functional, and the founder is probably more analytical. Mm-hmm. I know. I'm not that much analytical or operational focused. I care about design. I care about user experience. I care about product, and I want investors to see that. So that's why also we have Spark also as investors, and we have also Goodwater. We have Target Global. Usually, they are venture capital funds that they care about the product, mm-hmm. right? Not only about the plan, not only about specific KPIs, they care about the product, about the user experience. Yeah.
The thing about the decks is because I remember when we interviewed Luis Martin Caviedes 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, but that's
a different one. But he said something that really struck a chord in me. He said, like, if you're gonna pitch me or you're gonna send me your deck, don't send stuff that I can find on Wikipedia. Like China has got so many millions of people, or like 50% of people in Europe have got an iPhone. Things like that. It's like, I already know all these things, so I can find them in the internet. How much of this useless stuff do you put in your presentation?
Anything.
Nothing? Not at all?
It's like, I would, this percentage of people using mobile phones is increasing, or there's like 30,000 apps, new apps per month, every month, and it's just,
we find it on the news, right?
No, we try, I mean, the idea is that every slide needs to be a wow slide.
All right.
And if you want to have every slide being a wow slide for an investor that is looking every day at like dozens of different pitches, you cannot put the same shit. So you have to put different things and also related specifically about what you do.
But I imagine your first speech deck was not really wild.
No.
All right, yeah. How was it?
No.
How was it? How can
Yeah,
you? Let's give some tips to starting people. Most people here are starting their companies, right? How many of you are founders? That's a significant percentage of people that might be raising funds. Let's talk a little bit for early stage companies. Like, what do you advise for the first speech deck? What help for you?
Well, what I advise now, with my experience, is exactly what I said. But then, I mean, at the beginning, what I did is just took the basic index and put the basic stuff that there is out there. And but also it's about practice. Then you send it to investors, then you pitch it, and then I mean you just need 2 pitches or 3 or 4 to know exactly what you need to change. And that's something you will need to do. Even what happens is when I create the new one for a new round, I first go to 5, 6 investors, then I do a lot of changes. So I think it's just also about practice, and then sharing the deck with as more people as you can. Basically.
So that was going to be my next question: is how do you find the right VCs or the right investors? Because as a like a non-monetizing company, it's not like everybody is really interested in investing in you. So do you go for knocking on as many doors as possible, or did you already know which ones you needed to target?
Yeah. So at the beginning, I need to say that I was like, so everyone.
Yeah.
I didn't care. Everyone.
Everyone.
It's just no. Even I send the deck to investors that they don't even invest in marketplaces or consumer. I mean, it was crazy. But that was the beginning. So right now, I try to see if they invest in consumer marketplaces, if they are interested into real estate, and then if they invest on companies that are still pre-revenue.
Yeah.
So right now at this stage, for example, for a Series C, it's just tiny,
it's
right?
Like a couple of
so it's just easy to know right now. But at the beginning, I mean, I think you need to try to focus on the ones. I mean, it's not that difficult, right? You have a marketplace, so try to go for the ones that usually invest in marketplaces. If you are a pre-revenue, you know exactly which are the venture capital funds that they invest pre-revenue, which in Spain is difficult to find.
Let's talk about that.
Yes.
Comparing Spanish
and also
investors
in Europe.
and foreign investors. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Let's create some controversy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, I usually explain the same story. So when I was speaking to Spanish VCs, the first question was, when do you think you can sell this to Idealista, right?
Yeah.
And then I spoke to venture capital funds from Europe, and they say, okay, when do you think you can sell this to Schibsted, which is the big classified group? And then I pitched to US VCs, and they were like, when do you think you are going to go for the ABO? Right? Yeah. So it's just completely different. And it makes sense because it's more, I mean, in US they have been investing like in venture capital like for more time than us. They have more money, big pockets, which also, I mean, you can take more risks. And the most important thing is that they have seen before companies pre-revenue doing an IPO, like Twitter, like Facebook, like Insta. So they have seen it, and they have invested in those companies, right? And they have made a lot of money from those companies. But here in Spain, we haven't seen those companies yet. I mean, some of them, but not that much. So it's just, you try to, right? It's different when then you see a US VCs investing in a company here in Barcelona, then all the Spanish VCs, they come to you. Right? Yeah. That makes sense too. But so that's the difference, and I think makes sense. And eventually this will change, but that's the current situation.
But that's pretty uncommon, I would say. Like, it's not normal for people to go and raise that amount of money without revenue, and in the US, because I mean, most of them they will say like, hey, can you establish your company over here, or talk to me later? I was gonna say, is that your biggest moonshot? Like, what's your biggest moonshot? What's the one that has worked so far? Can it be like raising that amount of money without revenue, or?
Yes. I mean, yes. I mean, it's about, I mean, many things, but yeah, mostly because, I mean, being
many moonshots. Well, that's ambitious.
Well, not many, but I mean, I don't want to say that only raising money.
Yeah.
Also the team, etc. But I think it's the most important. But without the money, you don't have team, and you don't have money to spend, etc. etc. So I think also being pre-revenue, just raising money is just something that you need to do as a CEO. Yeah. And I mean, I think we've been pretty successful, and it's because we have planned since the beginning. It's just that we don't we are not going to make any money. Of course, we're going to make
Yeah.
money. It's just that we have, since the beginning, a clear plan, which is focused on the first phase, second phase, and third phase. And it's, maybe later we can talk about it, but it's a product strategy rather than a monetization strategy. We don't monetize because we need to monetize.
Yeah.
We monetize for added value.
Because you said you had 3 phases, if I
Yes.
remember right. Can you explain them? Maybe that helps
Yes.
the audience understand how you're doing this.
Yes. So we divide the process of renting property into 3 phases. The first phase, the connection phase between supply and demand. That's what classifieds usually do, right? They connect through phone calls at the beginning, then emails. So we have been focused on improving that part, which is adding an instant chat, adding this social component, verifying profiles, not having duplicates, having an algorithm that deactivates listings that doesn't respond. We have 92% response rate. The average time to respond is 3 hours. So we have been improving the first phase. Then it comes the second phase, which is right now all the team is focused on the second phase, which is what we call the booking or transaction phase, right? So when you go to a classifieds, you don't even think about book a room or a flat there because you don't trust. There's no verified profiles. They don't have what they need to have to manage payments. So we have been focused on the first one to enter into the second phase. So everything we're doing right now is focused on the second phase, and we are adding value into the transaction. So for example, for the new booking system, we'll have a body warranty, we'll have an insurance, we'll have a cancellation policy, and we'll have customer support that is going to last, et cetera, and even a relocation package. So this is an added value. It makes sense to charge for it, right? And also then it comes the third phase, which is post-transaction, and it's related to all the services that comes with from the move-in to the move-out date. That's like services like cleaning services, monthly payments, share expenses, whatever. And we could just only stay in the first phase, but if we do that, we are going to become the best classified in the real estate classified, right? And we don't want to become the best real estate classifieds. We want to become the next Airbnb, Amazon, Uber, and they offer the full package. They connect supply and demand, they offer a clear booking payment system, and then also they have a great customer support. That's exactly what we want to do.
And we were talking about the moonshots that have worked. Have you got any moonshot that didn't work and failed like big time?
Too many.
That you want to share?
Too many, yeah.
Okay, we've got more than half an hour, so you can tell a few.
I mean, I think one of the things that we did, it's probably to prioritize things in product at the beginning, and we still do sometimes, that they didn't need it to be prioritized. So at the beginning, you are a team of 5 people, maybe 10 people, then 15 people, and it's just about, you have these crazy ideas of new features, right?
Yeah.
We launched a feature to connect people based on second, third, fourth connections, and we thought that it was going to be the craziest shit ever.
Because you were kind of like the Tinder for flatmates,
Yes.
right? That was
Yes.
in the beginning.
Yeah, we started as the Tinder for flatmates.
Yeah.
And
Did that help?
Yes.
All right. Let's
Yes.
talk about this later then. But what
Yes.
was this
Yes.
feature?
So many different features that you prioritize, and then it's just you realize. For example, right now we are spending it's about 1 million per month, 1.2 million per month.
Yeah.
And then you realize that if you don't prioritize the right feature,
Yeah.
it's just 1.2 million to the trash. Not to the
pretty
trash,
big money,
but
yeah?
So it's just you need to think really, really well and make decisions based on data. Of course, right now we have a big team. They know their shit. They know we are data driven. But at the beginning, it was just crazy. We launched some features, and then also one of the things we did is we didn't have the proper backend and code in place.
Yeah.
And we launched the first TV campaign, just 5 months just right after launching the first version of the app.
YOLO, right?
Huh?
YOLO.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. How did that go?
I mean,
Did
it worked because
Yeah.
we had enough KPIs to raise the next one, but then the user experience. I mean, it was crazy.
Oh, it's not good, right?
It's not good. Yeah.
Let's talk about this. You said that you wanted to share many fuck-ups because we usually, as founders, we like to talk about what worked well for us, but we tend to hide or conceal our fuck-ups
Yes.
and failures, right? What's your most expensive failure? I mean, right now you're burning 1.2 million a month. That sounds pretty expensive, but probably you're investing in the good things.
Yes.
One particular thing you said fuck, I lost 1 million here or something.
Yes. I think
Bonus points if it's money from Target Global because Lena is here. But
I mean, when venture capital, when they invest, they already know that some part of the money is going to be about testing things, and that's why this is a startup, and that's why we are doing what we do. But yeah, so I mean, we made several mistakes on the product side at the beginning, I think. But I think the biggest mistake you can make, to give some context, I think you need three things to be successful and have like a global company. The first thing is just solve a huge problem. The second thing is just nail the timings. Badi 15 years ago wouldn't work.
Yeah.
And then the third one is the most important probably, is just once you have all of that, hire the right people.
Yeah.
If you don't hire the right people, then I mean it's just a process, right? You think you need to hire this type of profile, you spend like 2-3 months.
You can do better. Go for something specific. Because we've done 67 events, and a lot of people say like, we hired the wrong person. It's like, yeah, great. Okay, can we talk about something specific that we did this? It was a major fuck up.
Okay, so
Come on.
for
I'm
example,
challenging you.
Yes.
It's not an easy interview.
Series A.
Great.
We needed to close the round because we were like in 1 month we were just running out of money.
Great.
We told to the team and we said, okay, look, maybe the next month you're not going to have your salary, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, the first 5 pitches that I made to investors, I put the valuation here, and
Right.
it was crazy because it was like a complete nonsense. And then some of my investors, they came to me and said, this is just crazy what you did. Because once you have a no, it's just almost impossible then to have a yes.
Yeah.
But then I changed the valuation and I tried to be like more sensible with that because I know I knew that moment that investors they were. So I think that probably that was the biggest fuck up, but it eventually nothing happened and we could raise the Series A.
That's rare. Thank you for this, because usually we get this super generic, and I try to challenge people. What was your, because being an entrepreneur is not easy, and you share that also in some talks.
Yeah.
You share that at least tangentially in your blog post. What has been your worst day at the office? Like, what was that day when you said like, I'm giving up, but you didn't give up?
Yeah. So when we were about to close, I spent like a week having like McDonald's at home, not wanting to go to the office. And it's just crazy because it's a weird sensation because you think that you may close in 1 month, but then you need to go to the office and you need to express. I mean, you have a team that is motivated and it's working and they don't know this, right?
Yeah.
At least at the first stage of this situation, and you cannot go there and say, okay, this is bullshit, we're going to close, just stop whatever you're doing. You need to keep going, right? And even to show better numbers if you want to close the next one. So it's just a weird situation because you are frustrated at home and then you need to go to the office and then you go into the first meeting and they start talking about this is going to be huge, we're going to launch this new city, blah, 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 and you're like, maybe it's not going to happen in the next month, right? But so it's just probably a weird sensation and it's not a good feeling, basically.
I can't relate to this in that scale, but I know that sometimes you got bad days, and sometimes you say like, well, the future doesn't look very good. I know we're gonna solve this.
Yes.
What are your personal advice for keeping your cool and showing your best face? And like, it's not fake it till you make it. Sometimes it's like going up front and telling them, but sometimes still you gotta keep up the high spirits. Like, how did you do it? How do you keep your cool?
Yeah, I think there's several moments that you have very bad days, and it's about doubting about what your company does, and then about yourself. Mm-hmm. And that's just going to happen 100%. Right?
Yeah.
So when that happens, it's just, that's why the vision is important. And if the vision, it's just based on common sense, then when you doubt in yourself or in the mission of the company, then it's just you need to start thinking again why you started and what are you doing, right? But you will find like, I think I had like many moments where it's like, 1 month you see that specific actions are not working, KPIs are not doing as you expected. You launch a new feature and the new feature is not performing as you expected, and you say, okay, this is going down. This is, but it's just, I mean, that's why this is a startup, because you will need to test and find a way, and there is a way. If you, I mean, it is clear to me that someone will create a global platform online to for like decentralized co-living, and can be us or anyone else. But this is going to happen, right? So it's just we need to find the way, and this is going to take time. Sometimes you nail it at the first first time, or sometimes you need like 3, right? So it's not get frustrated with the phases that you are going to need for testing. So, but there, yeah. So it's I don't know if that helped. But,
one of the things that I've seen recurring is in like the first companies, founders in first company. We usually don't interview people who are in their first company. We like to interview more experienced people, but I think your story is pretty incredible. And I wanted to ask this to you. Most first-time founders, we seem to have or suffer from the imposter syndrome, right? It's like we think we don't deserve the job. We might think that we are not the right person to do this. Did you ever feel like this? Did you ever feel like I'm not prepared for this? I'm not the right person to lead Bali at this stage?
yes,
Bali?
yes, 100%.
How did you overcome this? Because it's a big pressure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and it's I mean, it's true. Nobody voted me or hired me to be the CEO.
I mean, nobody voted the king of Spain either. So
no, but but that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and you have this sensation that is like, I mean, maybe if the CEO was another person with experience, everything will be easier and faster and efficient and you know, whatever, right? But then eventually you realize that if you maintain the same passion, I mean, you can hire anyone as a new CEO, but anyone, I mean, there's no one that is going to have the same passion. And I think that's important. I cannot stand to be in a room to talk about new features, about a new launch, and to not see the passion into the people that I work with. So I think that's important. I mean, it's not only about the passion, of course. The CEO is passionate, but I mean, it's to be competent. Basically, I think I'm competent. But it's also about when you doubt in yourself and say, okay, there's a lack of experience in this area and in this area. Let's go to find some experience. You don't need to change the CEO. That's why you have a board. That's why you have advisors, and that's why you have the money to hire people, right? So it's not. I mean, right now I never feel that we need a new CEO. It's like, I know, maybe we will need a COO, maybe we will need a new board member, maybe we will need a different advisor. But I find myself someone that can learn really fast, and always like I delegate, and yeah. So yeah, I think that's the way I try to feel in that sense.
We see very few successful cases of external CEOs replacing the founders, because then they come with big egos, or they don't understand the culture, they try to change too many things, or maybe they don't have the credibility the founder earned with the team. So many years pushing, being there, shoulder to shoulder. So, but you mentioned really good stuff about having good advisors, good board members. How did you approach yours? Who are they, if you can tell? And why did they choose you?
Yeah. So, well, we have a board, and in the board we have the main investors.
Besides investors.
Besides investors, I have Didakli, for example. He's a friend of mine, and then we have Tao Tao, which is the co-founder and CEO of a company called Get Your Guide in Germany. And then when I say advisors, it's not only advisors that you pay with equity or cash, it's also people that it's willing to help anyhow and without paying anything. You want to know exactly the names, or how I
mean, if they're helpful, yes, or how did you approach them? How did you convince them, besides using your vision? But
no, to convince them it's the same. It's about the vision.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it's about feelings. You can convince someone to be, I know, related to the company somehow, but then if there's no feelings, or it's going to be difficult, right? So usually the advisors or the board members that we have at Badi, I mean, we have a good relationship, and we are pretty similar. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if I have any secret. I think it's still the same, to have good feelings for the other person, and then it's about the vision and the mission, and to yeah.
Last 2-3 questions, very quick ones. First one, what do we need to do as a startup ecosystem to be better in Barcelona, to be more competitive? What needs to change? It's your time to speak up.
Yes, so, I mean, I'm going to be pretty clear on that. I mean, there's many things, but it's basically about, basically about money. And because right now, what's happening is that we are seeing more investors outside Spain, US investors, European investors coming to Barcelona and investing into Barcelona startups. So that's why we have more startups. That's also why the startups here in Barcelona, they can right now hire not only talent, which is everywhere, but also experience from outside Barcelona, from US. We have also some people coming from US to work here in Barcelona. So I think, and then those startups, they grow, they hire more people, and then eventually there's an exit, right? And then we have more money in Barcelona, and it's just like this circle that doesn't end never. So I think that's why the environment is just growing, and I think also it's about culture. But basically, I don't know. Also, it's about public investment, etc. But I think it's mainly about money, and and also about this culture. I think the culture that is coming from US about entrepreneurship, it's great. And I think here in Spain and also in other places in Europe, we are used to think that failure is something that we don't want in our lives. Failure is just for I know. We don't want to fail, and we are scared to fail. And I think the US culture, the American culture in this sense, it's completely different. It's like, I'm going to invest in you if you have failed several times. I mean, if you haven't failed, probably I'm not going to invest in you. Right? Yeah. So I think also that's important, and this is something that we are saying more here.
That's a good one. I wanted to ask as well, is there something in your personality, because I'm going to explain this a little bit better, it's the first time I do this question, but I think it's pretty relevant to us. People conceive the entrepreneurs as somebody that's really successful, extremely busy, and seems like you have the perfect life, right? You've got money, you've got a successful company, you're happy, you go to events, you talk, and everybody thinks like life is going pretty well. Behind the scenes, it's quite a shit show, yes. Right? Is there something in your personality in spite of which your company is going really well? Like, for instance, in my case, I'm really chaotic, I'm forgetful. In spite of that, my company is doing pretty well. Yeah. What's in your case?
Yeah. Well, first, I think success is pretty subjective. Yeah. So, I mean, my mother, we could say that being successful, it's just raising my sister and me and seeing their grandsons, etc. And she's going to be successful, right? So I think it's pretty subjective. I never would say that I'm more successful than anywhere. Yeah, because it's just what I decided to do. And what I can say is that I'm chaotic, I'm not organized, but I'm super impatient. I have a lot of determination. When I want something, I go for it and I don't stop. Yeah. And then I'm super passionate. Sometimes it doesn't help, and if you ask my team, I go into a room and I say things without thinking. Right?
That sounds like me.
Yes.
All right, let's ask the team. The team is over there, right?
Yes.
Raise your hand if you work at Badi, because I think there's a few of them. Is that right? Is that right? Or
Elena, for example, can tell.
Yeah. It's completely right. Perfect.
So I dreamed about why this is not working in the product, and then the next day I go there and I put a meeting, the entire team. I say, I say, okay, we looked at the data and this is not true. So we are not going to change it. Okay, perfect. But at least, I mean, I'm not.
But you felt good, right?
Yeah. One of the things I think I have is that I'm not scared to say bullshit or to be wrong.
Okay.
So I go into a room and I don't fucking care if I say I think this is what we need to do. And someone comes to me and say, this doesn't make sense. I don't care. Okay, perfect.
Aren't you afraid
Let's
that,
go to the third
that
topic.
someday you will say it with too much determination, conviction, and they will believe you? Like, I'm so scared. I'm
No,
going to
because
implement this.
I have my team. That's why, I mean, my team, when I say bullshit, I mean, it's just,
That's great.
usually it's not a top-down decision-making in Badi. It's just, we make decisions based on facts, and then we talk a lot, right?
Great,
So it's
yeah.
just, I go there and say, I think we need to do that. I decided that, I mean, it's right now, in fact, in Badi, it's difficult to go there as a CEO myself and say, we are going to do this.
Yeah.
Then there's going to be 3 smart and intelligent people with experience telling me, no. But this is going to happen,
good, yeah.
and that's important. In other companies, you maybe you don't see that.
Yeah.
And I want, I mean, the people in my team to go, I mean, no, that makes no sense. I say, okay, but let's discuss it. Why, right? And maybe it turns out that I wasn't wrong, right? I don't know, or maybe yes. But I mean, my case is that I don't care, and I'm not afraid to be wrong or to fail or to say bullshit in any type of meeting. That's why also, for example, when I speak with investors, I don't care like the background of the investor. I mean, I came here to say this. You have this opportunity to invest in Badi. You can take it or leave it, right? Mm-hmm. And if I say something that I mean, I don't have to say. I mean, I'm sorry, I will say it. I will be, yeah. So,
Take it or leave it.
So I think that's something that I have.
All right, that's a good one. Last 2 questions, pretty quick, is how can we help you? Startup Prime has got this, primary value, helping first. How can we help Badi?
Yeah. So first, if you need to find a room to rent, please don't loan Badi. Try it. And then after trying Badi, just talk to us for feedback. We are always listening to feedback from our users. And then, of course, as always, we are hiring a lot.
Yeah.
In all areas: sales, customer experience, product, tech, finance, every area. So really also great to have your CVs if you're interested.
Last one, and this is the most difficult question you will ever get. No pressure, but everybody has got a useless superpower, all right? Something you do exceptionally well, but it's fucking useless.
Okay.
Right? Like, I know by heart most Britney Spears songs, and I don't know why. That's one of my superpowers.
Yes.
I never listen to it, but I know the lyrics, right? Which is yours?
I'm thinking. Maybe
Yeah.
if I don't have anyone, it's just...
No. Everybody has got useless superpowers. I can say more examples.
One thing, but I don't think it's useless. One thing, I mean, I don't remember, and it's almost like that it is disrespectful sometimes. I cannot remember the name of the people, but what I remember is just the face.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like 1 mile ago, I can say, I mean, I know this person, or I met this person, like, but I mean,
But you know
I think
the
that's
concept
just...
where you met them and so on?
Yes,
Oh,
everything, but not the name. But I think that's pretty useful. So I may.
That's a pretty good useless superpower. Obviously, you recognize everything but the name. All right, please, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Carlos. That's a pretty good crowd. Thank you very much. We'll open the floor for questions. We need somebody to help us with this. Maybe Paul, you can help us with it. Nasia, you got the mic from over there. I'm going to explain how this works. Just one, please be very considerate of other people's time, so no pitching, no very specific questions like, my startup does this, how can you advise me on this? And 1 question per person, and so say your name as well. All right.
Hello, first of all.
I think you need to turn it on. No, there's a button over there. Just press it.
Perfect.
All
Thank you very
right.
much. Thank you, Mr. Carlos, for your pitch. It was really
Thank you for coming.
And my first and unique question is, since that from your point of view, your vision, your ability to design the storytelling.
I went to hire you just to explain my vision, man. It's just crazy.
That's the point. I mean, I'm really interested in know your opinion about other people like you in your position, in your ability to do the same. How many of you have this kind of problem? It's really important because finding the ability to use few words
Yes.
to design the concept you want to put on the table,
Yes.
it's fundamental from my opinion.
You should
And
be a radio presenter. You've got an
This is
amazing
crazy.
voice.
I was a bit
It's
All
crazy.
right, you were a DJ. We should talk. We should talk.
This
You've
is
got an
crazy. I
amazing
didn't
voice.
even hear what you said. It's just crazy. I mean, I'm not a star. It's just crazy.
It's like, I was hypnotized.
No,
bro. I was like, wow.
so what was the question? I mean, what is the question?
So how did you find these people? Like, do you think there are more people like with
Yeah, of
your
course there are
vision
more people,
and-
like, for example, you. But no, with my vision or with this way of synthesizing the vision and giving importance to that vision, or?
I mean, you have a product inside your company. That's the main important thing. But it's the first time that I hear a founder speaking about how difficult it is
Yes.
designing from vision to mission with the right storytelling.
Yes.
How many people like you have this impression? I think that in your network you know a lot of founders like you. So
Yes.
how many people have this kind of need?
All right. So it's like.
How many people have you met?
Question problem. I don't know.
Yes, I mean, your voice is very great.
No. I mean.
If you keep it like that, no.
I mean-
how many people have you met in your network
Yes,
that are
yes,
like you?
So, I mean, I think eventually all the founders of great companies and CEOs of great companies and even managers that they have a team to lead, they need to develop skills to communicate clearly the mission or the vision. And it's not only about being founder or CEO. For example, we have squads, we have product squads. The booking squad needs to have a mission and a vision. Right? The mission is to create the best booking system in the real estate market. But they need to do that. They need to have that because if not, they I don't know why you are working on that squad, right? So I think that needs to happen not only as a CEO, it needs to happen with everything you do, why you do what you do, and yeah. So I think it is important when you're leading people to develop this set of skills. I don't think we born with this set of skills, but I think we need to, as leaders or managers, we need to find the importance of just trying to synthesize what we want to say in a clear way. I don't know if I answered your question.
You could have said 6.
Yeah, it's just a clear number. Yeah.
Next question.
Thank you.
We need more rhythm. Let's put it faster because I think the catering is waiting there.
Hi, my name is Camila. I wanted to ask you if you were scared when you raised that kind of amount of money. Like, what was your first action?
Yeah, so I mean, it's scary when you raise money without making any money, right? It's like there's people that is giving you money and then you need to do a lot of things with that money and you don't have the experience because you never did those things. So, I mean, it's scary, but I don't think about this anymore. It's like I have a plan right now, for example, we will need, I don't know, whatever, right? Even if it's 200 million. It's just we developed a plan, makes sense. We will need 200 million to hire people, do this, and that. And then once we have the 200 million in the bank, I just think about what we need to do. I don't think about the 200 million. And if you just only think, because for example, the other day I was in the office and then I received an email from HR saying, okay, today we have 10 new people in the office that just came to work at Badi. 10 new people, right? And we are 95 right now. I mean, it's not that we are a company of 1,000 people. It's 10 people just the first, like, you go to work, it's Monday, 10 new people. I mean, you are responsible also for those 10 people. It's just, and it was, I get like sweating, and then I think, okay, no worry, I mean, let's don't think about it. But yeah, sometimes it's just scary. It's just scary.
All right, next one.
Okay, so if there's one main KPI or metric that you use to gauge the success of Badi at any given point in time, what is it?
Yeah, so it depends on the stage. First phase, it was about connecting supply and demand. If you don't have supply, you don't have nothing. So the North Star, there was several, but the North Star KPI was number of new rooms being posted per month. Right now, because of the shift to the second phase, the North Star KPI is going to be number of bookings. Not revenue, but bookings. The first thing we want to see is people using the booking system. But then, of course, still you have the most important ones. It was like number of new rooms being posted per month, number of rental requests sent per month, and then matches per month. Main 3 KPIs. But then you need to change the North Star once you. And also we use the OKR system. So we have OKRs, key results, etc.
Here on the front? Oh, yeah. No. It's pretty much everybody on the front.
Very quick. Carlos, thank you very much. On behalf of the Americans and the expats who are looking for a place to live, Badi's been wonderful, and thank you. With the Metropolitan, we've been helping you guys craft a story, and it does, we get a lot of feedback about how much better you guys are. My question was this: at the beginning of you guys were speaking, you talked about the spray and pray approach to reaching investors.
Yeah.
How many investors roughly do you think you approached before you got the first yes?
I mean, also it depends on the stage. For example, for the next round or for the last Series B, I reach less investors, of course, because there are not that many investors. And in a seed stage, there are like business angels, there are like seed investors, family offices. So you have like a lot, right? So it's like you need to know that this is going to be a hard feeling because you're going to receive a lot of no's, and you need to keep the same pitch and the same face. So even if you have 30 options and 29 said no, in the last chance you have, you need to go there exactly with the same pitch and being sure that you are going to do what you want to do, right? So I mean, it's a hard feeling. It's just, you're going to receive a lot of no's, and I receive like, and also if you read the.
But can you quantify how many?
Like 120.
Wow.
120 no's before.
No, 110 no's.
No. Makes it better, yeah. Much better. Yeah.
110 no's.
Very great.
Okay. Thank you.
I want to second the just thank you for all this. My question relates to the market, and I'm thinking about visiting your website today. Someone looking over my shoulder said, "Wow, that looks like Airbnb."
Yes.
And I'm from their hometown,
Yeah.
and seeing have some awareness of how much effort that they've put in. So with that kind of competition, how is Badi responding to that and looking to progress?
Yeah, so I mean, it's great because when I want to explain it fast, it's like we want to become the Airbnb for mid to long-term accommodation in the room rental market. That's it, right? But so Airbnb, they do vacational, which is usually less than a month, and Badi does more than a month, which is non-vacational. So that's the difference right there. But that doesn't mean that we don't have competitors. We have a lot of competitors, and every month we have new prop tech startups everywhere. And I think it's one of the most important verticals, the real estate market, and it's the one which is like more obsolete, probably. There's many ways to improve things, right? And a lot of niches, etc. So we'll have more competitors. Right now, the main competitors is still classifieds. So it's crazy to me that, for example, if you go to US, they're still using Craigslist. And they use Craigslist because they care about liquidity. So at the end, it's just, I have a room, I want a lot of demand, and I want it fast. And still, Craigslist does that, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not only about user experience, you need to understand that it's also about liquidity. And when you have a marketplace, you need to have both, and also fast. So it's just...
Right. Can we take the last one?
I just wanted to ask you, hello everybody. I just wanted to ask you at which point of your business have you started being concerned about any legal problems?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good one.
That's a funny question because I still not concerned, and now we have head of legal. She's becoming like crazy with me. She's like, it's just crazy that you don't care about this and this and this. And I never cared too much about my father. He's a lawyer. My sister, she's a lawyer.
You can share, like nobody watches the video, so it's like
I cannot stand the legal shit that goes. I mean, it's just the opposite.
Fuck the law.
To synthesize a message.
Yeah.
It's just try to say something
Yeah.
instead of like one sentence, like 100 sentences. So I don't go into. So I've tried to hire the right lawyers, and usually when I hire the lawyers, like I don't care. So
They cannot keep your mouth shut from saying
yes,
things
no,
that
no,
you go
but
into
Carlos,
meeting
when you go into an investment round, there's of course some topics that are important to me,
Yeah.
but the rest, just give me like 3 bullet points. I'm not going to read this. You need to read this in order to sign it because this is going to be, I'm not going to read it. So, but of course right now, I mean, I'm not joking here, the rental market has a lot of regulations in Europe, right? So there's some countries that they, right now they are putting some regulation on the rental prices, they are putting some regulation on the room rental market. So this is important. That's why right now before we launch into we go into a new city, we make a full assessment of the regulations. And this probably is going to affect sooner than later. Imagine that Badi eventually grows as hell, and then we have a city with a lot, split it into rooms, right? We will have probably to see we'll have some regulation problems, 100%. This happened to Airbnb, happened to Uber, happened to, and probably it's going to happen. So now it's way more important than 1 year ago.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, really short. Oh, you again. Okay. The rules is in one sentence, and you need to answer in one sentence. Okay. Yes or no?
Sure.
Perfect. That was a sentence.
That's a word.
Come on.
That wasn't the question, was the answer.
Come on.
Did Mangroves Park or Water ask you or hinted restructure or relocation at some point?
Really good question.
I
Did they
don't
ask
want
you
you to repeat because you only
Did
have
they,
one
did they
sentence.
ask you to change the city, to relocate to another country? No. Great.
Like, this is my main concern about companies in Barcelona. So nobody asks you, and you don't plan to ever move.
No,
to another place?
it's not, relocation like the entire company.
Yeah.
No. They know they're already investing into a Barcelona startup, and we operate in Spain and in London, so it makes no sense right now to go to US. Eventually, if we open US, we will have an office there, but at least for now, headquarters are going to be here in Barcelona.
Perfect. Thank you very much for
You're
betting
welcome.
on
Thank you.
Barcelona. Thank you very much, everybody. Wow. That was really good. I'm exhausted. It's good that we have the summer party next month. You know how this works, and if you don't know it, so the catering and the drinks are working over there. Just don't line over here. You can leave your stuff here, but we just need to close this room. All right, no drinks or food is allowed here. I'm gonna unmic him and bring it over there. Just don't line up here, please. And see you. Thank you very much for coming. Enjoy the networking.